She's so bossy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations of a Phoenix Part 4. I feel like we're in the Eurovision Song Contest and we're going to need to start giving points for each day. Nul point, 12 points. um, so,
Yeah, I'm so happy we're back here, Eve,
mhm,
already day 4. And yeah,
yeah,
shall we just go ahead?
yeah. Let's
And
let's just see
yeah,
what comes up.
welcome everyone, and let's see what will come up today for us, what we're
Yeah,
going to chat about.
see what energies are doing. I'm
Shall
just back
I,
from a cycle.
yeah, shall I pull the cards again?
Yeah, go for it. Go
Yeah.
for it.
So
Yeah.
I show you the cards I have, yeah?
Okay. I'm kind of feeling that sacred forest. Yeah. The first one you put up. Yeah.
I kept it because you were really lighting up yesterday.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it this morning when I woke up. I was thinking about the reaction. I was watching the video back from yesterday and I was going, yeah, hmm, I
Yeah,
want that
yeah,
one.
definitely. So yes, I love
Okay.
those cards. Hmm.
Stop.
Oh wait, I haven't started shuffling. I was still focused on asking the question, and then I
I
have.
love it.
Okay, now I start. And you say stop, okay?
My overachiever is still, you know, I'll tell you a story in a minute. Stop.
Okay.
Awesome. Are we doing another one?
No, but I shuffle and then I open it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I like that one. I love it.
Okay, what does it say?
It's playfulness
Oh,
and the
well.
house.
Oh, I have to tell you this. So right when we were coming on the call, I told Sabine that I had just been for a cycle, and my overachiever is always very close to the surface. Okay, so I think I'm probably the most playful person that I know. I'm the most childlike person that I know. I really have an awe and a wonder for everything in life. But the level of competition and overachievingness that I sometimes feel makes me laugh at myself. So I cycled down to Newport, which is 11 kilometers away, and I did it in 38 minutes. Now, I didn't know whether that was good or bad or anything. That was the time I did it in. And I cycled back in 37 minutes. And on the way back, the question in my head was, okay, I'm going to need to ring one of the girls that I know who's in the cycling club and ask her how long it takes them to do it because I'm going to need to compete with them so that I can get better and I know what time. And then when I came home, I Googled it on the map. I was like, so how long does it take to get from Westport to Newport? And it says 39 minutes. And I'm so excited because I've beaten the time on the map, but now I need to get better. And there is an element of playfulness in that. There's a childlike competitiveness that I just feel the need to, I need to know. I need to know. I just need to know so I can get better. Who do I need to compete with? Not in a bad way, but just I want to be better. Let me be better. So yeah, I like that playfulness.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks.
So well. And yeah, there's all different parts of playfulness, no? And it can be competitive and it can be all kinds. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was so interesting that this card comes up because I had this. I went to a guided meditation 2 days ago,
lovely.
and that was what came out. I need this childish joy. This is what I've missed, and this is what I so desperately want to get back into my life. you know, because I
Hi.
and I talked to the ladies there, and we were all saying so many of us didn't have this childish joy because we had to behave. We had to be the nice girl and the good girl, and kids are seen but not heard.
Hmm.
And I always had to suppress my joy. Well, of course, I had to suppress all the other emotions too, because they were not really welcome, you know? So I think this is a big one for me, because I really want to bring back this childish joy into my life, this like, you know, dancing and running and singing and dancing and you know and maybe being this little princess that I never was.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's why I've come into your life. Maybe I'm supposed to dose you with what I have and just give you that childlike joy because I don't think I ever had that. You know, when you say that that idea that you had to fit that mold and be that, good girl, I think somewhere in my life I was, but more often than not, I tried to break the mold. And so I would just be whoever I wanted to be. And that happened because of lots of reasons. But I suppose maybe I'll share something that just happened. So I came in from the cycle, and remember I was saying to you that I was listening to music on the way, and I'm still emotional about it. So if I get emotional, it is what it is. And I came in and I was listening to a particular song, and it's a song that is representative of a movie that myself and my son would have watched all through his childhood and all through his teenagehood, and a movie that I just love and he loves. And there's a particular song in it, and it's an amazing song, and there's like this scene and this couple are dancing, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's evocative, and it's a real dancey song. So I was listening to that literally as I was coming home on the bike. So you can imagine I've all the endorphins, all the serotonin, I'm completely buzzed, I'm listening to this song, all the experiences are connected. And I came running in the door of the house, parked the bike, and I handed the headphone to my son, expecting him to match that vibe, to be buzzed because I was buzzed. And part of me is thinking, when he comes in and I match his vibe, and it's that child, that's probably childish rather than childlike, because now suddenly I have an expectation of my child matching my energy. He's 17 and a half, so he's not really a child. He is and he isn't. And he kind of just rolled his eyes and was really dismissive and nonchalant. And I could feel myself crumble. Like, what? Why aren't you? Why don't you like what I like? Why aren't you excited? Because I'm excited. And the mood just changed so rapidly and so quickly. And I could feel myself going, wah, wah, wah. And that childish feeling comes up, and that, well, this isn't fair. And why aren't you matching my energy? And why aren't you liking what I like? And why and why and why? And I think we have expectations on playfulness. So my need to have somebody else feel like me in any given moment, and then when they don't, it takes the joy of the mood away, rather than me understanding that I can just keep that joy. I can just, and even if I share it with somebody and they don't like it, I can still keep that joy. I get to keep it. I get to hold on to it because it's mine. I'm having it. I'm enjoying it. I'm experiencing it. And I don't know if you go through learning moments in the moment, and it can be really hard because it can be hard to be human. It can be hard to be a parent having a personal experience. It can be hard to be a person having a parental experience. And in small moments like that, we forget that we hold the power and that we can keep that. And our mood changes because we think somebody else is changing it. But it's not, it's because we're giving it away. I was giving it away in that moment, but I get to hold on to it. And I think even talking about it now, because I hadn't, because it just literally all happened, makes me understand that I get to hold that. I get to have that joy and have that moment and excitement. and it doesn't matter what anybody else's reaction is. I get to keep that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing
Mm.
that. Yeah. I think this is like, as you said, like in the moment we're sometimes just like really carried away with the emotions that come up and with the expectations, especially when expectations we have that aren't met, then and there is like a sort of procedure starting and moving on, moving on, moving on. But when you like hear
Yeah.
it at that moment, or maybe even later, reflect what was going on with me in that moment.
Mm.
What was the emotion? What was the need that wasn't fulfilled at that moment?
Mm.
And how could I fulfill this need? How could I get this need fulfilled? So, yeah. But it's so interesting um, that you have another experience to and another other expectations to playfulness, because playfulness for me is more me.
Mm.
Like, I don't need someone else for it. It's like what I missed, like just walking through a field and smelling the flowers and picking the flowers and just being with me as a child,
Mm.
and not being disturbed, not having to do anything, not having to perform to be something for someone else.
Yeah.
And for me, this is this big longing for having a bit of this childish joy back,
Yeah.
dancing in a field and being me.
You've just made a very good point. Playfulness is in the present. It's it's right now. You feel that playfulness and that joy and that childlike awe and wonder right now. You can't feel it from the past and you can't feel it in the future. It's not that feeling. It's a, oh my God, this is so exciting. This is so fun. This is so relaxed. This is so easy. Like you're saying, I get to walk through a field and pick flowers and just, be in a daze and daydream or skip or run or play or go for a cycle or listen to music. And it's only when you attach something to it, a meaning that it doesn't need, like I did on the cycle. And it wasn't until the very end of the cycle that I went, oh my God, this song is so amazing. I am going to let Josh hear it when I come into the house. And suddenly I took myself out of that playful feeling, of that childlike wonder, of that buzz, into the need to have somebody else share it with me. That's so interesting.
Mm.
Mm. God, we come out of the present so quickly, don't we?
Yeah, we do. But the good thing is that we can get back there. And that
Yeah.
even if we had, like, this is what I wanted to say now, a little bit of brain fog, perimenopausal and
That's okay.
energetic brain fog. No, that's what I wanted to say. We can bring ourselves back into
Mm.
emotions. And that's the great thing. We can change from one emotion to another. And it is a reality for us.
Mhm.
Even if we only imagine the emotion, we can still feel it. And it is our reality.
Mm.
And even if we had a childhood that was not so joyful, then we can change it. Well, we can change the past, but we can still get this part of us back when we allow ourselves to enjoy it now,
Mm. Yeah.
in moments that we choose to enjoy it.
Yeah. It's the choosing, isn't it? That's what it's all about. It's, you can choose to let anything affect you in any way. So you choose the way. Am I going to let this affect me negatively? Am I going to allow it to affect me positively? What am I choosing?
Yeah, exactly. This is like, will I stay the victim forever? Because I had
Mhm.
such a terrible childhood and I experienced all these horrible things in my life. Every one of us has like horrible things in their life. But we can choose, do we stay stuck in this story? Or are we going to take the responsibility and the power back? We say, yeah, this is my story,
Mhm.
but this is what I've learned, and this is what I became
Yeah.
in this story, through this story.
Mhm. It's an interesting one when you think about when a person loses their playfulness, when they lose their childishness. And I remember having a conversation with my sister once, and we were talking about, well, what age do you think it happens? Do you think it happens at an age? And I really thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And the way I raised my son was the word embarrassed was never used in our house. There's no need for the word, because unless you teach it, it doesn't need to exist. If I don't do embarrassment, I don't think that anybody needs to be embarrassed about anything. So if I don't teach it, then it isn't something. So if I was dancing in the bank when the music came on and I'm standing in the line, he'd be dancing with me, and he'd hug me and kiss me in public, and it was never weird. And I remember people would always say, does he not get embarrassed? And I'd say, well, no, because he doesn't even know what embarrassment is, because we don't do it in our house. And they would look at me like I was crazy. So I was watching all the other kids at various different ages and the levels of embarrassment that they would display for different things, different behaviors. When they would stop kissing their mums goodbye at the school gate, when they would stop saying, I love you, when they would move away from a hug, when they would stop playing with teddy bears or dolls, when they started being too cool and, throwing a side eye or rolling their eyes, when these different stages started happening. And I saw that it happened around the age of 9 or 10. And as I watched kids with each other and then kids with their parents, and I saw the way the interactions went. And I found it really interesting the language that was used. And it only takes an adult to say something once, particularly an adult that a child holds in high regard. You only have to say something once for a child to take it on board, and it's gospel after that. So, a thrown off, you're not going to wear that, are you? And suddenly the child will never wear that thing again. Jesus, you sounded like a girl when you said that, didn't you? That's it, done and dusted. That little boy's never saying another thing again. Um, you're still sleeping with a teddy bear. Jesus, you'd want to get over that. Suddenly there's no more teddy bears. They're away. They're in the press. I don't play with teddy bears. I don't do that anymore. Simple actions that are childlike and that are filled with awe and fun and joy are suddenly put away. And that age is when it starts to happen. And then you go from that into puberty and teenage years, and that's it. That's when childhood finishes. And then it doesn't ever seem to come back. That child likeness and that awe and that wonder and that joy finishes there, and everything else becomes a different vibe, a different mood. It's less fun. It's jaded. There's a cynicism at the age of 10. And when I would talk to clients and I would say to them, when do you have fun? And they'd look at me like I had 10 heads. Like, what do you mean? I go to the pub. No, I don't mean that kind of fun. I mean, when was the last time you sat and you belly laughed and you snorted snot out your nose and you had tears running down your cheeks and your tummy hurt? Yeah, no, I haven't done that in ages. Okay. When did you skip? Do you remember how to skip? No. Try skipping now. No. You know, when was the last time you jumped off a wall or climbed a tree? Don't be daft. I don't do that. I'm an adult. But why not? Do you know how much fun it is to climb a tree? Do you know how much fun it is to skip? I remember when I got back on a bike for the first time ever at my friend's house. She said, "When was the last time you cycled?" I said, "About 15 years." And I fell off the bike. Just fell clean off the bike. And she just stood there wetting herself laughing at me. And all I could do was laugh as well because it was funny. And I think because there's such a gap between that 10-year-old self that was told whatever and the joy and the childlikeness disappeared and the adult, it's so difficult to collapse that timeline and bring that joy back. But it's not impossible.
No, I think that it's exactly what you say, and we have to take this slots in our lives,
Yeah.
have this playfulness, because it's so important. And it's so important for creativity to get your head out of the daily routine and do something else, not perform and not function, but let yourself be guided to do something in the moment.
Yeah.
As you said, exactly, childish joy is in the moment right now and not bothering what the rest of the world will think of me. You know, because this is a big one that I had to learn.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
my mom always said, "Oh, but what will people say?" And her biggest care was, "What will if you do that? What will people say?" And this is one of my biggest lessons in my life, to not care what people say.
And it's a big one.
Yeah, so yeah, I've moved to a place where nobody knows me. That's it.
Even better.
You know, so here I can do whatever I want. um People know I have really nice neighbors here, and they are not like the judgy people that would say, "Oh, what was she doing, what did we
Mm,
see her?" And in the meantime, I don't care. I don't care about it.
the best way to be.
Yeah,
It really is.
so yeah,
It's freeing.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm. I remember Josh was small and he came into the house and he had two different shoes on and he was about to go to school. And I said to him, "Buddy, you know you've got two different shoes on, don't you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "All right. Do you want to wear them to school?" "Yeah." I said, "Okay. Are you sure?" "Yep." "Right." So just as we were going out the door, he looked back at me with this. You know when a child looks at you and you can see that there's worry in their eyes and they need a little bit of reassurance. So he looked back at me and he said, "Do you think anyone will laugh at me?" And I said to him, "Well," I said, "Do you want my honest answer?" And I've always been truthful with him. And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, probably." But I said, "The main thing is that you're happy with your two shoes. Because if you're happy and you're confident and you don't care about what anybody else thinks, then they may laugh at you once, but when they see you don't mind, they'll stop laughing." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, really. Watch." So he went into school. Not one kid in the entire school said anything. And the only comment happened at the end of the day when one mother spotted his shoes and said, "Oh, here he is now, like his mother."
I like that.
Josh started laughing and he goes, "She said I was like you." And I said, "Yeah." And it was such a lovely moment for him to recognize that
Oh,
as
that's so
long as he was happy in himself, it didn't actually matter what anybody else said.
yeah,
Um, and it's sometimes it's that simple. It's allowing the child to
absolutely.
be 100% themselves, to encourage whatever it is, the fun thing that they want to do. I want to wear two different shoes. Okay, cool. To let them know that somebody may laugh, something mean might be said, but so long as they're comfortable and happy in themselves, good, that's good. And that joy stays with them.
Yeah. And yeah, that's so interesting that you tell that story because I had a not a similar, yeah, but I had a story with my boys, and I let them do whatever, not that whatever they wanted to do, but let them take little risks, like
Mhm.
climb up ladders and because I trusted them that their inner sense will guide them on how far on the ladder they can go, how many steps up. And there was never a problem. They went like 3 steps back, 5 steps back, whatever. And they were cycling on their bicycle. And we have quite a steep hill. We can get quite fast. I turned my face to the other side because I didn't look, but I just let them do. And there was never really anything big happening. Whilst a friend of mine, she had two girls, same age, and she was always freaking out. Oh no, you cannot climb on this ladder. Oh no, no, only to the third step and not any further. And then this little girl, she climbed up the sofa one day and she fell right into the glass table and she hurt herself really badly. So, and this was like the lesson for me. Let them do because they have this inner guidance, how far they can go.
It's like that word, that phrase that it makes me, it gives me a pain in the back of my teeth when I hear parents say it. Be careful
Yeah.
of what? Of what?
Yeah.
Because the amount of times people say be careful to children, in the backs of their minds, subconsciously, everything is something to be careful of.
Yeah. And the thing is, we don't trust, people don't trust them.
Yeah.
We don't trust, we don't see children coming with already a deep inner guidance and wisdom. Of
Yeah.
course, we have to take care of them because sometimes they can get too far. You still
Mm,
have to always watch them. But there is an inner guidance.
mm.
And it's so hard when we disturb it at this little age already.
Oh, yeah. And when you use a word too much, it's a bit like that story about the boy who cried wolf. When you use a word too much, then when something really important happens that word fits, it doesn't carry the same gravity. It's like the word bullying. These days, everything is bullying. So the thing that's actually really bad that is bullying isn't treated as bad as it should be. So it's that idea of watching language. In if we go back to playfulness, there's a there's a freedom of expression in playfulness where we're not looking at those words. We're not looking at be careful. We're not looking at, take your time, go easy, keep small, stay here, let me see you. I need to mind you. I want to protect you, which every parent wants for their kids. But if you do it too much, there is a contraction rather than an expansion. And that too can get rid of playfulness. When you're contracted down into a very tiny space, it's an interesting thing to see. And so that can also have an effect on the adult who's trying to get back to that playfulness, who's trying to find that joy. Yeah, I think as adults, looking at that moment, when was that moment that it stopped? When was that time? because there'll be a pivotal moment, I think, in everyone's life
Yeah.
where they put away the toys, they put away the teddy bears, they stopped engaging in childish behavior for a reason. And if you can connect with a moment before that, not that moment, because that moment is when it stopped. The moment before that, it was still going. What did that moment before it feel like?
You know what I would love to do?
What?
I would love to integrate that in our retreat.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I would love to have this like few hours or whatever of
Mm,
being a child, being again this child that you couldn't be, or maybe that, yeah, that you've just missed out on being, no?
mm. Maybe we could call it the moment before
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
and just,
these are lost parts of ourselves. This is what we should be doing in our inner work to
mm,
connect all the parts that we have lost along the way.
for sure, because it's fun. So I live in that space. If you can hear the lawnmower, that's somebody outside. I live in that space. I remember I was painting. I'm painting away and I was washing the brushes. Do you remember the troll dolls? They had like super spiky hair and you could put them on top of pencils.
Never had them.
Oh my God. After this, you've got to Google them because these things were the cutest things. Their hair was about this tall. And then it was this little head and a little body, and they had a hole in the middle, and you could put them on top of your pencil when you were writing. Okay. And they had all different colored hair. And so I was finished washing the brushes and I held up the brush and it looked just like a troll doll. So there was the pencil and then there was the hair on top and there was two eyes and a nose and a mouth in the brush in the silver part. And I'm shouting, Josh, Josh, look, 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 there's a troll doll in the bath. There's a troll doll in the bath. And he came running in and he goes, oh my God, are you for real? I was like, look, 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 but isn't that hilarious? Or the day that I woke up and tortilla wraps. And I opened it and I had put chocolate spread on it. And I promise you, when I opened the tortilla, there was a seahorse. So I'm laughing at my seahorse on my tortilla and I'm showing John, look, look, there's a seahorse on the tortilla. It's the ability to let go, to see the imagination, to see, come away from reality and enjoy the in between.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
all.
seems weird, but it's not. It's just a way to tap into your creativity.
Mm, absolutely. Yeah. It's these small moments
Mm,
of this childish joy that bring us back to our creativity. I
yeah.
think it's an essential part of being creative.
Hmm. Yeah, brilliant creative exercise. I'm with you. Let's do it.
Hmm.
An addition. Yeah, a fun addition.
Yeah. All right. Shall
Yeah.
we call it a day, an evening today?
Yes. C'est la vie for today. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you all and your time. And again, do feel free. Contact either one of us if you have any questions, if you just want to have a chat, drop us a message.
All right. See you
Hugs
all
and love.
soon. Bye bye.